Welcome back to my podcast, Nutrition with Noelle, and today we'll be talking about type 2 diabetes. And I have a special guest speaker, Jordan, who was just recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Jordan, sit down and tell me a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, so like you said, I was just recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I'm just so confused, and I don't know what's going on inside my body right now.
Absolutely. So there's a lot that goes on inside the body with somebody who has type 2 diabetes. So in general, when in a normal healthy body that doesn't have type 2 diabetes, whenever you drink or eat something, that food enters the stomach and the body naturally breaks it down into glucose.
What is glucose?
So glucose is going to be a type of sugar, and it's the body's primary source of energy because it's a very simple carbohydrate, so it's easy to be broken down into. So in a normal body, that glucose leaves the stomach and enters the bloodstream. When the glucose enters the bloodstream, it signals, this is my pancreas, so it signals the pancreas to secrete insulin. So these little balls are going to be the insulin, okay? So insulin is a type of hormone that acts as a key which allows the glucose to leave the bloodstream and enter the cells, which provides the body with its energy. So in somebody who has type 2 diabetes, there are three things that can happen with the pancreas. So the glucose will still enter the bloodstream, and when it signals the pancreas to secrete insulin, the first thing that could happen is the pancreas will only secrete like a little bit, only a few insulin, and so it'll only secrete a little bit, so it doesn't really like count. So it won't really affect the body and allow the body to get enough glucose in the first place in its cells. Secondly, the pancreas may secrete the insulin, but the cells themselves don't have like the keyhole for the insulin to act as a key. So they might just not be receptive to the insulin itself. And lastly, you might have a pancreas that's secreting insulin, but there could be a physical barrier from fat tissues that prevents the key of insulin as acting as the cell, acting as a key to allow the glucose to enter the cell. So then you're just deprived from your glucose in the cells and ultimately just a lack of energy.
That makes a lot of sense. So how I found out that I had type 2 diabetes was that I had recent weight loss and frequent urinating a lot.
Yeah, so those are actually two of major signs and symptoms of having diabetes. So some other ones, so your body is trying to get rid of all that excess glucose that is found in your bloodstream, and it does that by urinating a lot. So yeah, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom a lot, and a lot of people who do have sudden weight loss. From this, you'll also you might be really thirsty because you're going to the bathroom so often. You might be really hungry. You could have blurred vision. Again, that weight loss, like you were saying, sometimes your wounds won't heal because of different infections. You might even have some sexual problems or vaginal infections and different things like that. Even blurred vision, and also, this one's kind of interesting. So your hands and your feet might be tingly. And this happens because there's so much glucose in your bloodstream that the blood itself is thick almost, and so it isn't able to reach your hands and your feet, which results in numbness and tingling.
Wow, how did I even get this?
Yeah, so basically there are a few things that a regular healthy body might get diabetes. Sometimes it could be just genetics. So in your case, it could be just genetics. When your family members have diabetes, you might get it too. So that you can't really help that too much. Other things are obesity, and again, what I was just saying, the fat tissues preventing the insulin from acting as a key. So obesity is a risk factor for this. Being over 40 years old, again, just that lack of physical activity, which also results in obesity. So it's kind of a domino effect, and just your secondary lifestyle, which is basically saying increase in weight gain, and also just lack of physical activity. So it's either genetics or kind of the physical activity, obesity thing.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm. But don't worry, there's gonna be hope for you too. There are different things that you can do as well. So I don't know if you already have this, but your doctor might prescribe you oral meds.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've been taking.
That's what you've been on?
Yes.
Okay. And that'll help with the blood sugar and everything. But there are other things other than meds that you can do. You can regulate your blood sugar, because that's a big thing. It's all about the amount of glucose in your bloodstream. You can count your carbs and your daily intake, and just again regulating that. And you can just increase your physical activity, which helps like your muscles use up that blood glucose and ultimately just balance the amount of glucose that's in your bloodstream. But even though there are so many, like there are some things that you can do to help, there are going to be some long-term complications that you just do have to be aware of when having diabetes. Again, like I was saying earlier, blurred vision is one of the signs and symptoms. And if you have this for over a certain amount of time, you might end up with just eye problems in general, which can range from a variety of things. You could have heart disease and hypertension. Hypertension deals with the heart too, and it's just basically saying that you have a high blood pressure. You might have neuropathy, which is basically damaged nerves, and you could also have kidney disease. So there are a few different diseases that you can get from diabetes, but it's just good to be aware about those as well.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel so much more, I feel like I know more about diabetes now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I got to help. And make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Comment if you want me to talk about another disease or different things with nutrition. Thank you.